Kurt Busch declines his waiver and he's out of the playoffs. Let's talk about it. Coming up next. What is going on, everybody? Hopefully you are doing good today. All right, Kurt Busch has removed himself from the playoffs. Let's take a look at his statement, Ty Gibbs' statement, and the director of TRD, David Wilson's statements. As much as I wanted and hoped to be able to get back in the number 45 car to make a playoff run with our team, it is still not the right time for me. In addition to not being cleared to return to racing, I know that I am not ready to be back in the car. I respect the sport of NASCAR, my fellow drivers, and the fans too much to take up a playoff spot if I know I can't compete for a championship this season. The decision was not an easy one, but I know it is the right thing to do. I will continue to take time to heal, strengthen, as I prepare to get back in the car, and will do all I can to help 23XI continue the success they have had this season. This is from Ty Gibbs. My prayers continue to be with Kurt. It's tough that he's going to miss the start of the playoffs, but I'll do the best job I can filling in for him as long as I'm asked to. I know Kurt will be our biggest supporter. I appreciate Michael and Denny giving me this opportunity to fill in, and hopefully we can continue to do well as we compete for the Cup Owners Championship for the 23XI Racing. My thoughts are with Kurt as he recovers, and I know he will continue to do everything in his power to get better. This from Dustin Long at NBC. David Wilson, president of Toyota Racing Development, stated Toyota's priority for Kurt Busch since the moment the accident took place at Pocono has been his health and recovery. Not his recovery to get back in a race car, but his recovery overall. TRD has been working directly with Kurt to support him on his recovery journey, but ultimately this decision was Kurt's, and we support him completely. While we're disappointed that he won't get the chance to compete for the 2022 championship by missing the start of the playoffs, his well-being is the only thing that matters to us. We know Kurt will be a big part of our championship efforts this season through his support and extensive racing knowledge that he can share with his team and fellow Toyota drivers. All right, so that covers every angle of it. Toyota's David Wilson, he's saying the right things and he's got the right mindset. Kurt Busch has the right mindset, and Ty Gibbs, definitely they all have the right mindset. Kurt Busch's health comes first. To clarify Ty Gibbs' statement, he's going to run for the Owners Championship, the number 45 Owners Championship. He is not in the playoffs as a driver. He is not running for driver playoff points. Just wanted to clear that up because I know a few people, at least on Twitter, were like, so Ty Gibbs is in the playoffs now? No, Ty Gibbs is not in the playoffs now. He is running for Owners points. Owners points are completely separate from driver's points. Owners points are by numbers. Driver's points are by driver. All right, so with that being said, once again, hopefully Kurt Busch is okay. He is actually setting a really good example, in my opinion, for when people sustain injuries in a race car. There is no need to rush back into it. There is still a mentality in all racing, basically, that when you get hurt, you don't want to see anybody drive your car, because if they drive your car, they could land your ride or land another ride, so on and so forth. That is the big fear. A lot of people said the waiver sort of gets rid of this. I don't think the waiver will necessarily help this type of mentality, but that's a conversation for another day. Kurt Busch is setting a good example by putting his health first and not worrying about who's in his race car or worrying about racing, knowing that his health comes first. And I think he's setting a really good example for future race car drivers going forward, not to race injured. That being said, there are playoff implications. This particular move locks in Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney is now locked into the playoffs. There's no way he can be bumped out. So it sort of, in one way, takes NASCAR off the hook, because now the second place driver in points will definitely be in the playoffs. If Ryan Blaney had not made the playoffs, NASCAR's playoff system would have been under heavy scrutiny. So basically that sort of bails out NASCAR. It takes a huge bit of pressure off of Ryan Blaney, knowing that he is fully locked in. And also Ryan Blaney is really good at Daytona, so he can now just race freely and not worried about being caught up in the big one and all that. But there is still a guy on the cutoff line, and that new guy on the cutoff line is a guy that was out a week ago, but now he is in through this series of events, and that guy is Martin Truex. Martin Truex now has several ways to clinch his way in. The first way is if Ryan Blaney wins, Ryan Blaney goes from being his competitor to being his best friend. If Ryan Blaney wins, Martin Truex has clinched into the playoffs. He'll be the last driver in. If somebody who has already won a race wins, Martin Truex clinches and he is in the 16. And also, if Martin Truex himself wins, he locks himself in and he is in the playoffs. But there are 13 or 14 other drivers who have not won a race this season, and if they win, they will bump Martin Truex out of the playoffs. Those drivers include Bubba Wallace, Ricky Stenhouse, Austin Dillon, just a number of people, Erik Jones, anybody that has won at a Super Speedway, Brad Keselowski, anybody that has won at a Super Speedway has to be a threat to once again bump Martin Truex out of the playoffs. So there still will be playoff drama, although the stakes are not quite as high as they could have been previously for this Daytona race. There are still high stakes. There is still a chance that the guy who is fourth place in points will be bumped from the playoffs. So NASCAR still could face some scrutiny for that because the guy fourth place in points won't make the playoffs. So there is still significant odds, but Daytona feels, I don't know, like it feels just like a little bit less pressure-wise, a little bit less intensity. I still think there's going to be a lot of intensity, but it just doesn't have quite as much intensity now that we know that Kurt Busch, unfortunately, will not be able to make the playoffs. And just another tidbit here, a lot of news has broken today. Zane Smith has extended his contract with Front Row Motorsports. He will continue to drive the truck in the Truck Series and compete for the championship there, but he will also make starts in the NASCAR Cup Series. That's right, all you guys who wanted to see Zane Smith come up to Cup, Zane Smith will race in Cup next year at least a few times. He will make a few starts for Front Row Motorsports. So Zane Smith is coming to Cup on a part-time schedule, but will be racing full-time points in the Truck Series. Larry's Hard Lemonade will be with Brandon Brown again. They are getting back together. So they are coming together again, and Brandon Brown will once again drive his own 68 car. So Brandon Brown has a sponsor, so that is good news as well. And also, Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, Bubba Wallace have all signed contract extensions with their teams previously this week or last week. I hadn't had a chance really to touch on that officially in a pre-recorded video. So all those guys have extended in multi-year deals, so they are set. Penske is basically set going forward. And 2311 definitely also set as well going forward. All right, that is all I've got for you today. Let me know down below what you think about the Kurt Busch situation, what you think about Daytona, what you think about the playoffs, whatever you want to talk about down in the comments. I'll get to as many of them as I can. And if you made it this far, feel free to subscribe. I really appreciate your subscription. It helps out the channel a whole lot. And all of you who are already subscribed, I appreciate you a whole lot as well. Thank you very much. And that is all I got for you. Thanks for your time. Peace.